Number 10. Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal is probably most famous for his Hall of Fame level career as an NBA superstar, but let's be real, you know him more as the icy hot guy. He's a co-host of TNT's Inside the NBA, he starred in dozens of commercials, and he's even starred in a few movies back in the day like Steel, Blue Chips, and Kazam, where he played a genie released from a magic boombox. If you haven't seen that movie, stop watching this right now and go find it. It's just oh so terrible, I love it. What many may not know, however, is that he was offered the role of a lifetime by Tom Hanks, but turned him down. He was offered the role of John Coffey in the film The Green Mile, a towering, gentle, and innocent death row prisoner in the 1930s with supernatural gifts. The role was eventually portrayed by Michael Clarke Duncan in what has gone on to be one of the best performances of his career. Shaq claimed later on that his refusal was simply due to him not wanting to portray the African-American guy from the bayou, but he did portray a boombox genie, so I'm not really sure that he made the smartest acting choices back in the day, but yeah, you can decide that. Number 9. Chet Hayes. For those who don't know, Chet Hayes is actually Tom's son. Chet has made a name for himself as one of Hollywood's biggest jerks. He's had some successful roles on shows like Shameless and Empire, and he's had a decent music career as well. However, Chet takes every chance that he can to defy his father and prove just how opposite he is to his dad. Tom's actually thrown his son a bone on several occasions and tried to convince him to appear alongside him in something. It took a long time, but Chet has always been adamant about following in his own footsteps and not in his father's. Chet's brother Colin Hanks has been a mainstream actor for a while himself. You may recognize him from comedy hits like Orange County, The House Bunny, and so many more. Chet wanting to carve his own path makes sense, but he's been going about it in a terrible way. Chet is slammed regularly for his use of racial slurs and accents in songs, and it only seems to be getting more and more problematic, meaning the chances of Tom and his son co-starring in a project together, it's highly unlikely. Number 8. Tim Allen. Okay, yeah, I know that Tim Allen and Tom Hanks were literally Woody and Buzz from Toy Story. Okay, so quit your typing in the comments, but it's not like they're always in the same room recording lines, right? Following the success of the first Toy Story film, Tim and Hanks were asked to return over and over again to voice their iconic animated counterparts, but Tim has apparently been harboring some resentment to his Toy Story co-star. He said in interviews that people always ask him about Woody and not Buzz, and expressed some jealousy towards Tom over his many Oscar wins. Tom has received 8 Oscars in his lifetime, and Tim has received 0 Oscars in his lifetime, and is understandably annoyed, because like, come on, Galaxy Quest totally should have gotten him an Oscar. Quality flick. With the revival of this Toy Story franchise, Tom also began expressing his annoyance at the lack of quality lines delivered by his character. Instead, he was reduced to a funny punching bag. These two may be on the same screen as CGI toys, but behind the scenes they avoid each other as much as possible, even getting Pixar to schedule their recording sessions on alternate days. Number 7. Brad Pitt. In the mid-90s, Tom Hanks began casting a little movie called Apollo 13. The film followed the real-life story of a team of American astronauts on a moon mission in 1970 when their flight goes horribly wrong. Tom had just finished writing the success of his back-to-back feature films Philadelphia and Forrest Gump, and he wanted an all-star lineup for his new project. In the end, he recruited Bill Paxton from Alien 2, Gary Sinise, who played Lieutenant Dan alongside Hank in Forrest Gump, and Footloose star Kevin Bacon. But Kevin's role, though, was initially offered to Brad Pitt, who had been slowly making a name for himself at the time. Pitt ultimately turned down the role as he had just been asked to star alongside Morgan Freeman in the horror mystery thriller Seven. While both films were a massive success, it's sad that Brad never took up Hank's offer, and he has yet to hint at the possibility of them ever working together. Number 6. Amy Poehler. So, fun fact I just learned today, Amy Poehler and Tom Hanks actually dated briefly in the mid-80s, and it looks like they did not end things on a good note. When Amy hosted the Golden Globes in 2014, she made a slight at Tom's expense by pronouncing his name Tam Hanks. Hanks was in attendance and visibly confused. Although it seemed like a one-off joke at the time, that was far from the case. Apparently, Amy holds a lot of resentment towards Hanks still after all these years. When Tom was asked about the incident, he said that he hadn't spoken to Poehler since they broke up. They shared a small apartment in Eagle Rock for about 6 months before Tom met his current wife, Rita. Apparently, Amy didn't like his dog, and she stole some of the good records when they broke up. So that's just harsh. They've both expressed professional respect for each other's careers. Tom made a slew of Hollywood hits, and Poehler had an awesome comedy career, culminating in the creation of the show Parks and Rec, where she portrays Leslie Knope. And if you haven't seen that, Check it out. Number 5. Henry Winkler. Henry Winkler, best known for his role as DeFonz on Happy Days, was set to direct Tom in the much-loved buddy cop movie Turner and Hooch. The Fonz had actually fought with Hanks in character on the set of Happy Days for one episode back in the day before collaborating together. It seems like Tom wished the fight was real though. Apparently the two of them didn't get along at all. So much so that a few days into shooting Turner and Hooch, Hanks ordered Winkler to be removed from the set and replaced as director. Imagine having that kind of power. This man displeases me, remove him from my sight. Not only did Tom complain that he was annoying and bad at his job, but upon firing Winkler, the film's producer ripped Henry's contract up in front of his face. Henry has denied that he hates Tom, but come on, not even like a little upset, they ripped up paper in your face. That is hardcore, man. Number 4, Ricky Gervais. If you didn't know, Ricky Gervais, along with Stephen Merchant, were the original creators of the comedy mockumentary The Office. Initially a 6-episode series, it was eventually picked up by American producers and remade into the classic comedy that we all know and love today. In 2011, Ricky was asked to host the Golden Globe ceremony, and the normally funny man ended up coming across as kind of rude. Ricky made several jokes throughout the night that seemed to be aimed at specific celebrities, but they weren't clever enough to actually make people laugh. Tom Hanks was in the audience, and he was visibly confused during the entire show. When it was his turn to take the stage, Tom took the opportunity to ask why he wasn't asked to host the Golden Globes instead of Gervais. Ricky felt the shade and gave Hanks a nasty eye roll. He later defended his hosting gig, claiming that hosting is an entirely different thing than just doing one segment. You're responsible for the flow of the show. He wanted people to have a good time, but be on their toes as well. Something tells me if Hanks ever does ask Ricky to be in a project, he'll be met with the same fiery eye roll. Number 3, Garth Brooks. Unlike a lot of musical artists in recent history, Garth Brooks hasn't done a ton of actual acting, beyond like a few cameos here and there and in his own music videos. According to Billboard though, it isn't for lack of trying. It was reported that Garth's former production partner and de facto talent agent Lisa Sanderson filed a lawsuit against the singer alleging that she lost a ton of money because Garth turned down every single role in every TV show or movie he was offered ever, and there were a lot. Tom Hanks even wanted Garth to be a part of his ensemble cast for the Army epic Saving Private Ryan. He would have starred alongside Hollywood heavyweights like Matt Damon, Vin Diesel, and Edward Burns among others, but Garth turned him down without a second thought, simply because he would have been part of an ensemble cast and he wasn't going to be the actual lead actor. Hey, no offense Garth, but you're not better than Matt Damon. Number 2, John Leguizamo. Tom's first run of movies were light-hearted family flicks or rom-coms like Big, Sleepless in Seattle, and A League of Their Own. In 1993, Tom decided to take a turn at the dramatic side of acting when he took on the role of Andrew Beckett in the movie Philadelphia. Beckett is a lawyer dying of AIDS who is grappling with systemic homophobia while suing his former law firm for wrongful termination. This role would gift Tom with his first Oscar win and Antonio Banderas a nomination for his role as Hank's lover in the film. But funnily enough though, that role almost went to the man who would eventually voice Sid the Sloth in the Ice Age movies. John Leguizamo was known for his comedic chops in the early 90s, and he wanted to branch out into film. He was offered the role as Tom Hanks' lover in the project, as Tom was trying to give the young comedian an outlet to work in a more dramatic fashion, like he was trying to do. John turned down the role as he wasn't completely comfortable playing that character. He instead opted to star in the live-action film adaptation of the Super Mario Brothers. Yeah, needless to say, everyone in Philadelphia won Oscars, and John got to play with fungus for 6 months. Good move. And number 1, Dave Chappelle. Okay, argue with me all you want, Dave Chappelle was huge in the 90s. Not only was he slowly building his career as a stand-up comedian, he was also able to land supporting roles in several big budget projects like Robin Hood Men in Tights, The Nutty Professor, and he even took center stage as the leading man of the much-loved hippie comedy Half-Baked. Say it with me, bodegas. Very good. When Tom Hanks was ready to follow up his dramatic turn in Philadelphia with the American history epic Forrest Gump, which won him his second Oscar, Dave Chappelle was on Tom's shortlist to play Forrest's beloved army buddy Benjamin Buford Blue, aka Bubba. In the film, they met in Vietnam, and Bubba sadly loses his life in the process. In his memory, Forrest goes on to name his successful shrimp restaurant Bubba Gump Shrimp. With such a beautifully written friendship and a major role in the film's overall story, Dave would be crazy to refuse the offer, right? Well, yeah, right. Yeah, he was crazy. Dave apparently read the script and turned Hanks down hard. He later said in one of his stand-up shows that they asked asked him to play Bubba, and they must have given him the wrong script because at the time, he said it was trash. While scripts go through multiple stages of editing, the plot of Forrest Gump on paper was probably not a coherent read. Just like, what do you mean he meets John Kennedy and jogs across the country? Ping pong!
At number 10, we have David Letterman. When Madonna appeared on The Late Night Show with David in 1994, the star was so obnoxious she showed that she had a lack of sensitivity for intelligence throughout the show. Madonna would go on to say the F word around 14 times. The star's language and overall behavior even resulted to the point where she had to be asked to even leave the stage. However, instead of leaving, she would then give David a pair of her undergarments, and then she would refuse to leave the stage. The star then would later claim that her disastrous behavior and appearance was a way of her protesting against television censorship. I can definitely understand why David was so uncomfortable with the situation, and I don't blame him for never wanting to work with the pop star again. At number 9, we have Mark Wahlberg. Madonna almost once cost Mark his breakthrough role. In the early 90s, Mark was just coming off of his rap career and he started to pursue a career in film. However, before getting his breakthrough role in the film Renaissance Man, Mark ran into some trouble when he got into an altercation with people who were very well connected to Madonna. When the altercation broke out, Mark noted that Madonna would go on to call the cops, and she continued to tell everybody stories about the event and what Mark was doing. Now, Mark claimed Madonna's claims were not true, and luckily Mark's film producer, Penny Marshall, would continue to support him. Mark explained when he got the call from the producer asking what he did, and how she ultimately decided to give him the role despite the rumors. I mean, sometimes it's better just to keep yourself out of other celebrities' feuds, but this pop icon is never shy to stick her nose into somewhere she shouldn't be sticking it. So it makes sense why Mark would want to stay as far away from Madonna as possible. If you're enjoying this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. At number 8, we have Elton John. In 2002, when Madonna released her song Die Another Day, it ultimately became the theme song for the James Bond movie. However, Elton John would later come out to say it was the worst theme song for a Bond movie, and that was just the beginning to their brawl, as this feud was destined to go on for years. Now, Elton would add fuel to the fire by criticizing Madonna for being nominated Best Live Act. Elton would go on to say that Madonna lip syncs in public shows and anybody who doesn't perform live should just be punished. And Elton wouldn't stop there. He once took things further in an interview with Channel 7 Australia when he said Madonna's tour was a complete disaster, and that after he watched it, he even questioned the star's common sense. The stars would later end their feud, and Elton's partner would come out to say that they didn't believe in bringing negativity into the world and that they were both embarrassed about everything they ever said about Madonna. At number 7, we have Lady Gaga. So the feud between Lady Gaga and Madonna started back in 2011 when Gaga released Born This Way. Now, Madonna immediately drew comparisons from her song Express Yourself. In an interview with ABC News, Madonna would go on to say that Gaga referenced her a lot in her work and she found it amusing and flattering. Lady Gaga, however, would come out to say, if you put the songs next to each other side by side, the only similarities are the chord progression. It's the same one that's been used in disco music for the last 50 years. The star then went on to say just because she's the first artist in 25 years to put it in the top 40 radio doesn't mean she's a plagiarist. Now, these two pop divas are definitely iconic in their own ways, but whose team are you on? Team Madonna or Team Lady Gaga? Personally, I'm more of a Lady Gaga fan myself. At number 6, we have Janet Jackson. Now, Janet and Madonna are both major celebrities that haven't always said nice things about each other. Janet's and Madonna's beef allegedly all started when Madonna attempted to date Janet's brother Michael in the early 90s. In the book You Are Not Alone, Michael, Through a Brother's Eye, Michael's brother wrote that he sincerely thought Madonna adored Michael. However, the feeling wasn't mutual. When out for dinner one night, Madonna made a terrible mistake when she decided to criticize Janet. Michael was ultimately left feeling furious and never went on another date with the pop star ever again. In 1994, Janet told Vibe that she could never hate Madonna, as hate is a strong word. However, the pop star dissed her and she was mystified by it, considering the two never met in person. The feud would then become a classic example that if you have nothing to say, don't say it at all, because you never know when someone's family member might tell them what you said about them while you were enjoying a bite to eat. And number 5, we have Patti LuPone. After meeting Madonna, Patti was asked about what she thought about the movie the star was starring in. Patti then went on to describe Madonna as a movie bummer, as there's no lights behind her eyes when she's acting. Patti then went to say that Madonna can't act her way through a paper bag, before saying the pop star shouldn't be on stage or in a film. Now, Patti did say that the performer is amazing in her music career, however, she's not an actress. The actor then would shade Madonna years later after she said Madonna is Madonna, and I'll leave it at that. So it's not uncommon for actors to make a list of actors and performers they'll never want to work with or work with again. And if Patti really hated Madonna's performance as much as she said, you definitely won't see these two acting together anytime soon. At number 4, we have Mariah Carey. In 1996, Madonna would slam Mariah Carey, igniting a feud between the two stars. Madonna would say that Mariah's music wasn't art, and then later when MTV asked Mariah how she felt about Madonna's comment, the star would go on to say that she hasn't really paid attention to her since she was in 7th or 8th grade, when she used to be popular. Carey then noted that the star no longer was popular, and that's probably why she never heard anything about the star dissing her. During an interview in 1998, Mariah would double down on her comments when she was asked about her thoughts on Madonna, and she went on to say growing up she really liked her first album and said that the album was really popular. She then went on to say the pop star did good, however, several times throughout that interview, Mariah can be seen mocking Madonna by using a fake British accent. At number 3, we have Cher. Now, Cher and Madonna are two of the biggest names in pop music history, and although the two have such a great deal in common, they have a real love-hate relationship. In 1991, Cher was loud and clear about her opinion of Madonna while in an interview with CBS. Cher would highlight the star was straight up mean and rude, and that there was something she didn't like about her. The star said that she hung out with Madonna a couple of times and she was just rude to everybody, and the star acted like a spoiled brat all the time. Cher would also state that in an interview on a talk show Wogan that Madonna was unbelievably creative because she's not unbelievably talented. She also noted that the star was not beautiful and that she was rude. Although Cher has made it clear that she isn't fond of Madonna, she's also said that she does respect her as an artist. At number 2, we have Sandra Bernhard. In the early 90s, comedian Sandra and Madonna were actually best friends. They even appeared on The Late Show with David Letterman together. However, something would then later happen and the two would end their friendship. Now, Sandra and Madonna have never really opened up to what actually happened between them for their friendship to dissolve. However, that hasn't stopped Sandra from being vocal about her evolving distaste as a person. Sandra once said on .429 that the two used to be best friends, but they no longer speak anymore. The star then went on to say that she keeps her friends her whole life, but Madonna doesn't feel the same way. However, it has been said that the reason Madonna and Sandra fell out is because Madonna stole Sandra's girlfriend from her and the star felt betrayed. Now, if that is the case, Madonna broke girl codes, and I can see why Sandra would dislike her former best friend. That type of betrayal is just next level. At number 1, we have Drake. So remember when Madonna kissed Drake at Coachella, leaving us feeling queasy and uncomfortable? And what added more heat to the fire is when the cameras caught him looking shocked with a disgusted look. Now, Drake's horrified reaction to Madonna making out with him on stage would cause a media storm of allegations. Now, Drake finally did come out to reveal he actually enjoyed kissing the star by saying, "Don't misinterpret my shot. I got to make out with the Queen Madonna and I feel 100 about that, and forever thank you, Madonna." TMZ would then later report that Drake's reaction was due to an unpleasant taste of Madonna's lipstick rather than the kiss itself. However, none of us really bought that. And if this was the case, I'm sure these celebrities would still be collabing together, but since this incident, they haven't. So it really makes you wonder how Drake truly feels about Madonna. Coming at number 10 today, we have Judd Apatow. Just a month after Jared Carmichael used the Golden Globe stage to mock Tom Cruise for his involvement in the Church of Scientology, Judd got in a few similar jabs while emceeing the Directors Guild of America Awards on February 18th. Judd's jokes began with the topic of Tom's height, when he said the special effects in Maverick were so top notch, I couldn't even see the stack of phone books Tom Cruise sat on to reach the flight controls. Things then took a quick turn when Judd called Tom Cruise a lunatic while reforming to Tom's infamous jumping on the couch segment when he sat down for an interview with Oprah. Before he dove into the juiciest part of his speech when he said, "Tom is not fine. Someone needs to explain to him that there's something called CGI. You're 60, calm down." But every time he does one of these few stunts, it does feel like an ad for Scientology. I mean, is that in the Dianetics? Because there's nothing about jumping off a cliff in the Torah. Judd still wasn't done roasting Tom as he ended his roast with suggesting that Tom wouldn't be jumping off cliffs if he just took antidepressants. Number 9, Brad Pitt. It's not really breaking news when I say Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise aren't exactly fond of each other, as they have been in a very public feud that has been going on for the last 27 years. The two actors who shared the screen in the 1994 film Interview with a Vampire, their differences became evident when Brad said in an interview, "He bugged me. There came a point during filming where I started to really resent him. He's North Pole, I'm South." And if you thought things couldn't get any worse, then Brad even had some harsh words to say about Tom's movies, as in 2009 when both actors starred in World War II dramas. While Brad's film did very well in the box office, Tom couldn't quite achieve the same feature. Brad didn't also shy away from celebrating his arch rival's bitter failure by calling Tom's film a ridiculous movie. So it seems like from the looks of it that it wouldn't really be a stretch to say that the two actors are highly unlikely to be a part of the same project in the future, especially since Brad has this list and Tom Cruise is on his B list, which compiles of a bunch of actors he'll never work with. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming number 8, we have Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber's feud with Tom Cruise is actually really confusing, as it seems like the feud is somewhat one-sided. Back in 2019, Justin would take to his Twitter to challenge Tom to a physical battle after he declared that he wanted to challenge Tom Cruise to fight in the octagon. When he said, "Tom, if you don't take this fight, you're scared and you will never live it down. Who's willing to put on the fight?" And if that wasn't bizarre enough, Justin then posted a video of him kicking the cap off of a bottle, saying this could be Tom Cruise's head. While the world was trying to figure out this confusing post, we all then decided to start an investigation into what caused Justin's aggression towards Tom. But whether it was due to religion, personal reasons, or just a grab for attention, it was clear that Justin really wasn't fond of Tom Cruise. And even after he told TMZ he was just playing when it came to his initial tweet, it really makes you wonder if he really was, or does he actually want to challenge Tom in the ring. Number 7, Katie Holmes. Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes once made headline after headline for being one of Hollywood's most gorgeous and talked about couples. Their relationship had it all, and at one point, they even had a dramatic public declaration of love. And they even showed the world that they just couldn't keep their hands off each other when it came to the red carpet. However, too many fans and media houses were disappointed that the duo filed for divorce just 6 years after being married. While the real reason behind their split is nothing but speculation, it is believed that Tom's horrible treatment of his ex-wife and even their daughter and his involvement with the Church of Scientology is what pushed Katie to get out of the marriage. This claim can even be cemented by reports that claim Tom even tried to impose bizarre rules on Katie, like how she shouldn't be allowed to date another man publicly for 5 years so it wouldn't embarrass him. Given such a hostile and messy end to a long-term relationship, it is a no-brainer that these two stars won't be appearing together on the screen, not now and perhaps not ever. Number 6, John Travolta. John Travolta and Tom Cruise seem to have a lot in common, and it's not just their field of work, as they are both strong believers when it comes to their participation in the Church of Scientology. However, this common link has become the cause of a bitter rift between the two actors, as inside sources believe that John is immensely jealous of Tom's position within the Church of Scientology, and at the fact that Tom is also one of very few members of the religion who has access to David Miscavige. When it comes access to the chief of Scientology, David. Brendan Ty, a former member of the church, once even told the New Idea that Tom was the only celebrity that had a direct link to David, and that it wasn't really a secret that Tom and John despised each other. For an industry that's well known for rivalries to stem from jealousy over snub movie movie roles and scandalous affairs, Tom and John's feud is definitely an interesting addition. With their strong dislike for each other making headlines, it's easy to guess that these two Scientologists would likely keep as far away from each other as possible. Number 5. Mark Wahlberg. Over the years, Mark Wahlberg has been pretty open when it comes to his dislike towards Tom Cruise. So back in 2013, Mark first let his feelings known about Tom after Tom offended Mark to a T. According to reports from that year, Tom claimed that the work he was doing in a new movie at the time was as tough as fighting in Afghanistan. Mark would then come for the controversial actor when he responded to Tom's response by saying, "For actors to sit there and talk about, oh, I went to SEAL training and I slept on the, I don't give a F what you did. You don't do what these guys did." He even went on to make things clear that he was referring to fellow actor Tom Cruise. While both stars have never worked together in the past before, it's clear to say after this public showdown, they most likely will not be working in the same room together anytime soon. Number 4. Russell Crowe. Loyalty is everything to some people, even to celebrities. Unfortunately for Tom Cruise, this means that many fellow actors despise him for the way he treated his ex-wives. When Tom filmed the 2018 reboot of The Mummy with Russell Crowe, rumors began to swirl that Russell couldn't deal with his co-star, and that he didn't want to because of what went down with Tom and Nicole Kidman. A source then revealed to the Daily Mail that Russell wasn't the biggest fan when it comes to Cruise after they told the media outlet Russell is a loyal guy and never forgave Tom for the way he treated Nicole. If they stayed friends, he would have felt like he was betraying Nicole, so he froze Tom out of his life completely. As it turns out, Nicole and Russell go way back, so it only seems like he felt obligated to maintain a sense of loyalty towards Nicole. Number 3. Nicole Kidman. So believe it or not, but Katie Holmes wasn't Tom Cruise's first marriage that ended in divorce. As before there was Katie, Tom was actually married to Nicole Kidman for 11 years. Well, that's quite a long time to be married. Nicole has said that it might not have been the best decision for her to make, as at the time she told Daily Mail, "I was so young when I got married. I look back at it and I'm like, what?" Nicole also went on to reveal that she felt pretty lonely during her marriage, and after she ended up winning an Oscar, she had this epiphany. She then went on to tell the outlet that it isn't the answer. "I was holding a gold statue and I was the lowest I've ever been." While the star doesn't hate Tom, Nicole would also note that she never saw their divorce coming. Later in an interview with Du Jour magazine, she also took the time to say, "It took me a very long time to heal. It was a shock to myself. It was a shock to my system." Since Nicole hasn't really said much about her relationship with Tom, it wouldn't really be shocking to know that she just couldn't stand him, as he truly broke her heart. Number 2. Alec Baldwin. So the thing with Tom Cruise is that even when he isn't trying, he still has a tendency to get on people's bad side. He also doesn't even have to be in the same room as someone to annoy them, to the point that they never want to be in the same room as him ever again. For instance, Alec Baldwin has made his feelings clear when it comes to Tom, and they aren't all great. At the 2009 Elle magazine annual Woman in Hollywood dinner, Alec gave a speech about equal pay in Hollywood, and he even cracked a joke about Tom's insane paychecks when he said, "I believe we can balance the scales if Tom would lower his quote by a mere $29 million. I realize this may be a bit unfair since he's not here to defend himself, and I really don't want to put this all on one man. But if I had to, that man would be Tom Cruise. I assure you my salary would not make a difference. My annual salary is the budget of Altoids on one of Tom's movies." With Alec not really being impressed with how much money Tom is being paid, but considering that Tom also threw Alec's daughter a safety net in Scientology, it's clear that these actors will probably never work together. And coming in number 1 today, we have Brooke Shields. Tom is known to never shy away from making a statement, and he certainly didn't shy away when he told Access Hollywood in 2005 that Brooke Shields' use of antidepressants was irresponsible. At the time, Brooke was battling with postpartum depression, and Tom, who was a well-known Scientologist, was brainwashed to think that mind-altering medications, including antidepressants, aren't only damaging to the body, but the controversial church has also made him believe that these type of medications can decrease his awareness and hinder his abilities. While he did make a quick mention to say that Brooke was an incredible actress, that wouldn't save him from receiving backlash from his fans, media, and Brooke herself, as Brooke would respond to Tom's comments by saying, "Tom should stick to saving the world from aliens and let women who are experiencing postpartum depression decide what treatment options are best for them. The duo previously worked together on the 1981 romance drama Endless Love, but it seems like this would be their first and last film together thanks to their strong disapproval of each other.
Number 10. Florence Pugh. As we know, the Hollywood it girl appears in Olivia Wilde's new film Don't Worry Darling alongside Harry Styles. However, there was reportedly much tension on the set between the two women. Florence reportedly wasn't too happy seeing her director hooking up with Harry, considering the fact that at the time she was still with Jason Sudeikis, whom she is very good friends with. So it makes sense that she wouldn't be too happy seeing the two of them together when Jason was allegedly oblivious to the affair on set and even brought their two young children to visit their mother. But what was Harry's role in all of this? Well, not a whole lot, but it's pretty apparent that Florence disapproves of his new romance with Olivia Wilde. During the premiere of Don't Worry Darling at the Venice Film Festival, fans noticed that the actress avoided both Harry and Olivia like the plague. She posed for group shots with the entire cast, but did not get any photos alone with Harry, even though they were both central characters and love interests in the film. Florence also was said to have avoided eye contact with both of them throughout the premiere and seemed to leave the event as soon as possible. So with everything that went down, it's highly unlikely they'll be working together again in the future. If you're loving this video so far, please hit that like button, it would really help us out. Number 9. Shia LaBeouf. The actor was initially cast as Jack in Don't Worry Darling, but in September of 2020 it was announced that he would be replaced by Harry Styles. Olivia then made some very explosive comments alleging that she fired Shia due to a no a-hole policy that she has while directing. She told Variety, "Shia's process was not conducive to the ethos that I demand in my productions. He has a process that in some ways seems to require a combative energy, and I don't personally believe that is conducive to the best performances. Ultimately, my responsibility is to the production and to the cast to protect them." But Shia was not very happy with this side of the story and decided to publicly expose Olivia. He emailed both the director and Variety to deny that he was fired, instead saying, "You and I both know the reasons for my exit. I quit your film because your actors and I couldn't find time to rehearse." And he proceeded to leak a video of Olivia begging him to stay in the film. Shia seemed to want to set the record straight, but some fans accused him of being bitter and resentful over the fact that Harry ended up replacing him in the film. It sounds like a bit of a reach, but that could be a possibility. Number 8. Zayn Malik. In a moment of honesty, the 29-year-old opened up to US Weekly and revealed the reality of his relationship with Harry, admitting that the two of them barely spoke while they were in One Direction, let alone since. Zayn said, "To be honest, I never really spoke to Harry even when I was in the band, so I didn't really expect that much of a relationship with him, and I haven't had one." Sometime later, possibly in a response to Zayn's comments, Harry appeared on SNL and dragged Zayn during his opening monologue. He said, "I was in a band called One Direction. How crazy would it be if they were here tonight? I love those guys. They're my brothers. Niall, Liam, Louis, and Ringo." If you didn't catch that, he was implying that Zayn was a less important member of the group, as many Beatles fans see Ringo Starr as the least talented and least interesting person in the band. So what was his reaction? Well, a source close to the star told Hollywood Life that Zayn doesn't care what his former band member does or says, and that he'd rather not see his name in a headline with Harry ever again. But the whole thing was hardly a surprise to fans, given that the two of them weren't exactly best friends. They were more like co-workers. Number 7. Mark Wahlberg. This one was one of the most unlikely celebrity feuds in the history of celebrity feuds. In 2014, Mark Wahlberg appeared on Conan and revealed that his daughter's obsession with One Direction infuriated him, so much so that he threatened to beat Harry Styles up. It's pretty clear that the actor was never a fan of the singer to begin with and told Conan that his two little girls would rather talk about One Direction than their dad's movies. Quote, "My 4-year-old's going, 'Daddy, I like Harry,' and I'm like, well, I'm gonna punch Harry in the nose when I see him. She pulls out pictures of him and she's hiding pictures in the room, and I pretend I'm ripping them up and I get jealous. But if I see that little prick, he's gonna get it." Insinuating that if Harry didn't watch out, he was going to risk getting a black eye or two. Mark also discussed a plan to have One Direction do a song for one of his movies, only to lure them in so that he could basically beat the crap out of them. Quote, "I could say, 'Hey, I really want to meet One Direction, I'm a big fan, maybe you can do the title track for the song,' and then I would beat the crap out of them in a video." Of course, it seemed like he was just messing around or being sarcastic, but it was a little odd how long he kept the joke going. Number 6. Liam Payne. Twitter fans ridiculed Liam for airing the dirty laundry of his former 1D bandmates on Logan Paul's Impulsive podcast. The 29-year-old reflected on the band's highs and lows, as well as the various feuds within the group and their personal problems in recent years. But fans took particular issue with the fact that he said his 2017 debut solo track, Strip That Down, outsold everyone else in the band. In fact, the whole interview came off as a little bit of a humble brag for Liam, and a lot of people were confused how he seemingly thought that he was the most successful member of the band. Liam also claimed that he was the chosen leader of One Direction, and disputed the notion that Harry was a frontman of the group. He insisted that the band was formed around him as a part of a promise that Simon had made to him 2 years prior. He explained that when he auditioned for X Factor the second time, he was thrown into the group, and Simon promised to make it work for him, and allegedly decided that Liam was to be the band's leader. But fans were very skeptical of the claim, and even Lizzo said, "I don't know who lied to that poor boy, but he was not the frontman." So it looks like the question is still up for debate. Number 5. Noel Gallagher. The English singer and songwriter who is a member of the band Oasis has a long history of questioning other artists' musical abilities. But Noel Gallagher made a whole lot of enemies when he decided to trash Harry Styles. In fact, he hated Harry even when he was in One Direction, and decided to go on record calling the band members something that rhymes with rock suckers, and said that they would all be in rehab by the time they're 30. Not only that, but he told the Daily Star that X Factor as an institution has nothing to do with music whatsoever, and that performers and bands that came from the show don't work as hard as real musicians. Quote, "You're not telling me that Harry Styles is currently sitting in a room somewhere writing a song. With any joy, he'll be surrounded by a lot of girls. I can assure you he's not got an acoustic guitar out trying to write a middle 8 for something." Noel also claimed that his cat could have written Harry's debut single Sign of the Times in about 10 minutes. The singer has also trashed Little Mix and said that they were not in the same league as his own band, but clearly he doesn't take into account the size of a fan base either. Number 4. Billy Porter. Not everyone was happy to see Harry Styles gracing the cover of Vogue in 2020 while wearing a dress. In fact, actor and director Billy Porter felt that Harry was just copying him. In an interview with the Sunday Times, Porter slammed Harry's gender expression as performative. Quote, "He doesn't care, he's just doing it because it's the thing to do. This is politics for me, this is my life. I had to fight my entire life to get to the place where I could wear a dress to the Oscars. All he had to do is be white and straight." Porter went on to say, "I changed the whole game. I personally changed the whole game. And that is not ego, that is just fact. I was the first one doing it and now everybody's doing it. I created the conversation, and yet Vogue still put Harry Styles in a dress on their cover for the first time." It's easy to see where Porter is coming from, considering that yes, he has spent years making waves in the gender-fluid fashion world, and famously arrived at the 2019 Oscars in a Christian Siriano blazer dress, which kind of broke the internet at the time. But he also wasn't the first and only celebrity to ever push the envelope of gender binaries, so Harry shouldn't have been the target of his criticism here. Number 3. Taj Jackson. Michael Jackson's nephew was fuming when Rolling Stone UK tweeted out the cover of their November issue, which featured Harry Styles. The singer was pictured rocking a white fur stole and pink sequin shorts while holding a birthday cake with lit candles, and the title reading, "Harry Styles, How the New King of Pop Set the Music World Aflame." It's safe to say that this didn't go over too well with Taj Jackson, who immediately took to the comments to roast the magazine and demand a different title for Harry. He wrote, "There is no new king of pop. You don't own the title, Rolling Stone, and you didn't earn it. My uncle did. Decades of dedication and sacrifice. The title has been retired." The 49-year-old is the eldest child of Michael Jackson's brother Taito, and although he insisted that he wasn't disrespecting Harry, his 180,000 followers seemed to be out for blood and started joining in on the hate train against him. One user wrote, "Harry is like every other pop star, a Michael Jackson wannabe that will never be anywhere near as good or as talented as the real king of pop." Then Taj doubled down on his feelings and wrote, "There is only one king of pop, and no offense intended to Harry Styles, but he's not in the same league or universe as Michael Jackson." Wow, Number 2, Lucius. The American indie pop band did not hold back at all when they accused Harry Styles of not properly crediting them after they collaborated with the pop star on his 2019 song Treat People with Kindness. In an interview with the LA Times, the two lead vocalists, Jess Wolfe and Holly Lasig, said that Harry asked for their vocals on the song because they were already working on another song together at the time. Quote, "We were like, yeah, of course, it's just oohs and ahs, it's not a big deal, and it's a good opportunity for us. But we started singing and we were singing the whole chorus. 2 weeks later, they sent us the track and it was literally us. We started the song, we sing every chorus, just us. We trade off in the bridge, it's us and Harry Styles." The women maintain that Harry didn't even link their band when he put the song on Spotify, which they claimed robbed them of critical exposure that they needed as a relatively unknown band. Quote, "It just hurt. There was an opportunity to spread the love a little bit, which he purports to do all the time, and it could have really helped us." While the situation does sound disheartening, it might not have been something that Harry did knowingly or maliciously. And coming in at number 1, Candace Owens. A lot of people had a lot to say in 2020 when Harry Styles made history as the first male to have a solo cover of Vogue, and just happened to be wearing a dress. To no one's surprise, the controversial conservative commentator did not approve of his clothing choice at all, and so she decided to attack him on Twitter, saying, "There is no society that can survive without strong men. The East knows this. In the West, the steady feminization of our men at the same time that Marxism is being taught to our children is not a coincidence. It is an outright attack. Bring back manly men." She caught a lot of backlash for her comments, and people were quick to call her out for being photographed wearing a suit, and flooded her comment section with phrases like, "Bring back feminine women." In response to this, Olivia Wilde called Candace pathetic for basically attacking Harry's gender expression, and conflating wearing a dress with being feminine. Then in response to that tweet, Candace hit back at Olivia, tweeting, "You're single for a reason," referencing her split from longtime partner Jason Sudeikis, which was announced just days earlier. But regardless of how many people stood up for Harry, it's pretty clear that he just doesn't like labels, especially when it comes to gendered fashion. Number 10, Miley Cyrus. In 2013, Miley Cyrus allegedly got very jealous when Jennifer Lawrence went after her ex Liam Hemsworth. The jealousy was likely sparked by headlines claiming that the Hunger Games co-stars were dating, and Jennifer didn't really bother doing anything to shut down those rumors when she appeared on Watch What Happens Live in December of 2015, and admitted to making out with Liam off-set. When Andy Cohen asked, "Have you two ever kissed when the cameras weren't rolling?" she replied, "Liam and I grew up together. Liam's real hot. What would you have done?" "Yeah, I have." Not only that, but in 2014, when Jennifer visited Late Night with Seth Meyers, she recounted a time that she threw up in front of Miley at the Oscars after party. She said, "I was in such a bad condition, and I look behind me and while I'm puking, and Miley Cyrus is there like, get it together," essentially saying that Miley shot her a disapproving look and shamed her for puking. But when the former Disney Channel star got wind of the story, she called BS and responded with a tweet saying, "That never happened." If you're loving this video so far, please hit that like button, it would really help us out. Number 9, Chloe Sevigny. The fashion icon and indie film darling voiced her annoyance about how actors these days have to now have marketable personalities. She went on to comment on how irritating it is to see the likes of Emma Stone or Jennifer Lawrence play to the audience on late night talk shows. She said they'll have a really peppy, funny girl on the talk show round, and everybody adores her and loves her, wants to be her or wants to F her, and then so many people want to watch the movie or TV show. I understand that star quality, how much value that carries. Chloe ends her borderline rant with criticism of the young Oscar winner, saying, "Jennifer Lawrence I find annoying, too crass." But that wasn't the first time that the Hunger Games star has been called out for her lack of authenticity, with many film lovers criticizing her overly enthusiastic nature on various talk shows. In fact, these days a lot of people think she just tries too hard to come across as relatable, and it often feels too forced. Number 8, Lindsay Lohan. While talking to Stephen Colbert on The Late Show in 2015, Jennifer said, "I'm a big time puker. I don't stop working because I'm a show pony. And so I just keep going until eventually my body is like, if we don't make her barf or pass out, she won't stop. I get Lindsay Lohan grade exhaustion, but without any narcotics or alcohol." Of course, those comments were in pretty bad taste considering Lindsay's long-term battle with addiction. So her younger sister Aliana Louisiana jumped to her defense and tweeted, "Disappointed in Jennifer Lawrence, not cool." To which Lindsay wrote, "Thank you, sister. Maybe who you're referring to should learn to support others like Maya Angelou." Her mother, Dina, was also upset at the comment and told Entertainment Tonight, "We have always been fans of hers, so it was unfortunate that she used Lindsay as a reference of not showing up to set, and that was the whole bit. It was disappointing that she didn't have her peers back. You shouldn't trash anyone. It was just surprising. My family sticks together." Number 7. Jared Leto. When J-Lo took to the stage at the 2014 Oscars to present the award for Best Actor, she called out someone who was laughing in the audience and said, What is funny?" Only later did we find out that that person was Jared Leto. He told Access Hollywood about the awkward moment, saying, "What she didn't know was that Ellen was on the side making pantomiming 'Don't fall,' and my mother and my brother are all cracking up. I guess we don't have any manners. You can take them out of Louisiana, but you can't take Louisiana out of them, right?" Obviously, Jared didn't take the incident very seriously. He just wanted to clear up the fact that he wasn't laughing about her. But when he was asked about Jennifer's second red carpet fall earlier in the evening, he said, "I'm starting to wonder if this is all a bit of an act." So clearly he thinks that she was more or less acting clumsy on purpose. Number 6. Erica Lane. The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star had some pretty harsh words for Jennifer Lawrence after she trash-talked her at the Toronto Film Festival. J-Lo was talking about the Real Housewives and said, "My biggest problem with this season is that it's been boring, and I think that Erica is evil. I would go as far as to say that she needs a publicist ASAP," seemingly referencing the fact that Erica has been at the center of several lawsuits involving her estranged husband and disgraced attorney Tom Girardi. When Erica went on to Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, he asked her what her reaction was to Jennifer's comments, to which she responded, "Well, it's easy to label people when they are at their absolute lowest going through something in real life on television. But anytime that she would like to come down and mix it up with us, I'm sure that we could unmask the ugly parts of her personality as well." Which was not only a great comeback, but it's also true. Number 5. Lala Kent. In 2018, when Jennifer Lawrence went on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, she jokingly called Lala Kent the C-word. The star of Vanderkamp Rules didn't take that too kindly and tweeted, "Did Jennifer Lawrence really call me the C-word on Bravo? And talk about my mama? B, you better pray I don't see you in the streets. You're one of the highest paid actresses on the planet. You claim you are pro-women and you call another woman a C-word? You are gross." Clearly, Lala did not take any time to cool off, because less than a month later, she slammed Jennifer Lawrence again and said that the actress had 2 failed films in a row. She called her the type of chick who would give Harvey Weinstein sexual favors for roles. Lala also said, "I think we've come to the conclusion that she sucks. Now anytime you bring her up, I'm like, I don't have anything nice to say about her. I'm gonna say that her hair sucks, her face is a little too pudgy, like she needs to stop the drinking, Number 4. Jennifer Lopez. During a visit to The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon in 2014, Jennifer recounted an awkward incident that took place at the Met Ball with J-Lo. She claimed that she approached J-Lo asking to dance and got rejected when J-Lo said, "No, I'm just going to observe." A couple of days later, the singer shared her side of the story and told Access Hollywood, "I remember that we were at the Met Ball and Kanye was about to perform and it was a crazy moment. And then they came over, Jimmy Fallon, he started talking, and then Jennifer came over too. And then she was like, 'Let's go dance.' And I was like, 'No, I'm good right here.' But I didn't mean it like, 'No, I don't want to dance with you.' I just meant like, 'It's so crowded in here, let's stay right here.'" Although she clarified that she would have loved to dance with her, it seemed like it was more of a communication issue that left J-Lo feeling a little embarrassed. Number 3. Spencer Pratt. The Hills star has probably the strangest beef with Jennifer Lawrence ever. It all started in 2017 when she told Vogue about her troubles moving into her new home. She said, "The house had crystals everywhere and I was like, please get rid of these. I don't want people to come over here and think I'm a crystal person. But everyone told me, you can't do that, you can't move them. You have to have the crystal lady who put them in to move them. I just had all of the crystals yanked out, sold them, and then my effing house flooded. I hate crystals." Soon after the story ran, Spencer Pratt claimed that he felt personally attacked by her remarks. He said, "She was talking about me in Vogue like 100%. I'm the crazy crystal person she's clowning. So I'll see her, we'll bump into each other at the Beverly Hills Hotel like I see all the A-listers and they run from me." He also blamed the actress for his skin rashes and claimed that she was doing spells on him. So it's pretty clear that no one should come between Spencer and his crystals. Number 2. David O. Russell. TMZ reported that Silver Linings Playbook and American Hustle collaborators Jennifer Lawrence and David O. Russell got into a loud argument on the Boston set of their film Joy. Eyewitnesses described a screaming match between them that was ear-piercing and laced with profanities. Later, a representative for the studio studio confirmed the yelling, but claimed that the director was just helping Jennifer to get amped up for a scene in which she screams at someone else. A day after the report, the actress stepped forward to clear up the rumor and posted a message on Facebook saying, "It's Jen. I know I don't go on here a lot because I can barely work email, but there's been a terrible rumor going around in the last 24 hours, so I wanted to clear it up. David O. Russell is one of my closest friends and we have an amazing collaborative working relationship. I adore this man and he does not deserve this tabloid malarkey. This movie is going great and I'm having a blast making it." So it's likely that all the yelling was necessary for a good performance. And coming in at number 1, Joan Rivers. While promoting one of her new films in 2013, J-Lo decided to rant about the pressure that young girls face in the media. She said, "Shows like The Fashion Police are just showing these generations of young people to judge people based on all the things that are wrong." But Joan Rivers was not too happy with Jennifer attacking her show, so she tweeted, "It's funny how Jennifer Lawrence loved the show during awards season when we were complimenting her every single week. Wait, it just dawned on me why Jennifer Lawrence fell on her way up to the stage to get her Oscar. She tripped over her own arrogance." Then she told Page 6, "My New Year's resolution is ensuring Jennifer Lawrence grows up and realizes how lucky she is and calms down. I love that she's telling everyone how wrong it is to worry about retouching and body image, and meanwhile she has been touched up more than a choir boy at the Vatican. Look at her posters. She doesn't have a nose, she has 2 holes. She just has to learn, don't talk if you're doing it."
Starting off in our number 10 spot combines 2 classics, Toy Story and Monsters Inc. The theory being that Randall from Monsters Inc. is actually Andy's monster from Toy Story. This theory would make you have to believe that these 2 movies exist in the same universe. If you can get on board with that, then you need to look closer during one scene in Monsters Inc. In the scene where Randall is practicing his scare tactics, he's casting himself on a bedroom wall that looks very much like the wallpaper in Andy's room. Everyone knows the blue wallpaper with clouds is the legendary image of Andy's room. Could it be that Randall is actually Andy's monster and that one of his doors has led him to Andy's room? What do you guys think? I think it's almost too coincidental for it to be the exact same wallpaper, so I'm getting on board with this theory. Speaking of Toy Story, our number 9 theory is that Andy's mom is actually Jesse's original owner, Emily. Okay, let's take it back a notch. Throughout the Toy Story movies, we never know Andy's mom's name, so this could actually be a possibility. Jessie, the cowgirl toy, in case you guys forgot, always spoke of her lost owner named Emily. The story goes that her owner Emily grew up with her and she was always incredibly loved. But eventually Emily gave her away as she grew older. Jessie ended up in storage for a long time. Looking back at the movie now, there is some evidence that could prove this theory. If you take a look at the hat Andy always wears, it's noticeably different than Woody's hat. It's actually a replica of Jessie's cowgirl hat. Woody's hat is brown and you would expect this hat to replicate the toy he's so connected to, but instead his hat is red with white lace just like Jessie's. But wait, this theory goes even further. When you look at the scene of Emily's room, you can see a hat on her bed that looks just like the one Andy wears. The room also looks pretty old-fashioned, which could show that it took place long before Andy was born, meaning it could have been his mom's room. Andy's hat is faded where the center white lace would have been. Could it be that over time the hat has faded? Anything is possible in the world of Disney. At number 8, we have one that actually breaks my heart a little bit. I'm almost a little mad at whoever came up with this theory. The theory that Finding Nemo is the story of Marlin's imagination because Nemo is in fact dead. How depressing. Remember, I'm not the one who came up with this, I'm just bearing the bad news. This theory stems from the idea that Nemo means nobody in Latin, and that we see Marlin's wife and her eggs are all dead at the beginning of the movie, which some are thinking could include Nemo. So basically, throughout the whole movie, we're watching Marlin deal with his loss by inventing a story in which he saves his son Nemo, the son who could have been. The theory goes on to say that each of his encounters represents the stages of grief in order. Denial, anger, bargaining, despair, and acceptance. And maybe it's not a coincidence that everyone he meets along the way tells him to let go of his son. I'm really hoping this theory isn't true, and I'm so sorry if I completely ruined this movie for you. On a lighter note, let's head to theory number 7, coming from The Incredibles, the theory that Edna Mode saved the world with a cape. Edna's no capes policy was fierce until Syndrome came to her for a new outfit. As a reminder, Syndrome came to be the supervillain in this movie, but his name was really Buddy Pine. Not only did Edna study his powers and make suits for the Incredibles to do battles with him, she also gave Syndrome a cape. Coincidentally, the cape turned out to be his downfall. Maybe Edna planned it all along. If so, smart lady. At number 6, prepare to be mind blown. The theory that Boo from Monsters Inc. is actually the witch in Pixar's Brave. Isn't Boo a toddler and isn't the witch like 80 years old? I'm confused too, so let me explain. So she figured out how to time travel through Sully's doors, which leads her to being the witch we see in Brave. Apparently she spent her entire life trying to find Sully. What created this crazy theory was the carving of Sully that appears in the background in one of the scenes in Brave. Check it out. Crazy, right? I never even noticed that. That definitely fuels the idea that the witch knows who he is, and how would she if she wasn't in fact Boo? I'm intrigued by this one. I can get on board with it. Halfway through at number 5, we have the theory that the tree in Wall-E becomes the tree in A Bug's Life. Okay, you know the plant that Wall-E keeps safe until the humans return? Well, this theory suggests that it becomes the tree in A Bug's Life, and it's actually the reason we don't see any humans in that film. The tree shows that the Earth has yet to repopulate, which is why it's all about the life of bugs. It almost makes too much sense that I can't even deny this theory. I'm stumped. At number 4, we have yet another monster theory. This one being that Bing Bong from Inside Out was actually a monster who worked at Monsters, Inc. We know that Bing Bong is Riley's imaginary friend in the movie Inside Out, but this theory suggests that there's more to the story. The story goes that while he was working at Monsters, Inc., he was assigned to Riley's room to make her laugh so the city could collect energy. But Riley got so comfortable with him that she treated him as an imaginary friend. This theory actually makes some sense because let's not forget that at the end of Monsters, Inc., Mike and Sully decide to make kids laugh instead of scream because it generates more energy. But one would think this would leave kids feeling traumatized. I mean, imagine a monster coming through your door, making you laugh, and then disappearing forever. Creepy. This would make no sense unless children perceive these new monsters as their imaginary friends. Is it just me, or are some of these theories actually making some sense? Speaking of Inside Out, taking our number 3 spot is another theory from this movie. The theory that Riley's mom committed credit card fraud. Damn, quite an assumption to accuse a Disney character committing a crime. But let's investigate. This theory first came about when fans noticed the name on her credit card in one of the scenes. If you look close enough in this scene, you can read the name on the back of her credit card, which says K. Ann Anderson. This case isn't looking so good for her because number 1, her name is Jill, and 2, her last name Anderson is spelled with an E and not an O. Fans are saying that she did in fact commit credit card fraud, and that's the reason why Riley's family had to move so quickly. Interesting. What's even more interesting though is that people are wondering whose credit card it really is. People can't help but notice that K. Ann Anderson is actually Bonnie's mom's name from Toy Story 3. Yet another mind blown. Alright, if you guys thought I broke your hearts with the Finding Nemo theory, prepare for another tearjerker. In number 2, we have the theory that Carl is actually dead during the entire movie Up, as if the movie wasn't already sad enough. As a recap, Up follows the story of a 78-year-old man named Carl who loses his wife and fulfills his lifelong dream of tying thousands of balloons to his house so he can fly away. But he finds out he isn't alone on his journey when a little boy named Russell shows up. The theory suggests that he died in his sleep before he was going to be taken to Shady Oaks Retirement Village, and that Russell is actually his guardian angel helping him into the afterlife. The house could represent his connection to the real world. So basically what this theory is telling me is that we're watching old man Carl being escorted by a tiny angel up to his wife Ellie, who's waiting for him in the afterlife. I'm not crying, you're crying. Alright guys, at number 1 we have the biggest theory of all, the theory that all Pixar movies are interconnected. This theory suggests that all Pixar movies take place in the same universe, just not at the same time. The theory is so big that it was actually turned into a book called The Pixar Theory, written by Joe Negroni. The book covers every feature-length movie by Pixar Animation Studios since 1995, following the storylines of how they are connected. This theory would help explain quite a few Easter eggs you might have missed in some of the movies. A big one being a scene from Toy Story. If you pause the frame, you can see 2 bugs from A Bug's Life on one of the bush leaves that Buzz is standing in. Take a look. That's insane, right? It would only make sense if it was true that all these movies are taking place in one universe, but each story happening in a different timeline. This theory is wild, and it looks like I'm gonna have to read this book.
So starting off our list today at number 10, we have Will Smith. So for a while now, Will Smith and his wife Jada Pinkett Smith have been denying the fact that they are members of the Church of Scientology. However, if this was the case, then why did they operate one of the church's private schools for their children in their home? As in the report published by Daily Beast, they would confirm that the Leadership Academy that was taking place in one of the couple's homes was essentially a Scientology school, and the teachers the couple had working in the school were followers of the religion where Scientology was studied among the classes. So the teachers at the school were constantly told to talk about building materials into the curriculum that were related to Scientology. And there were even parents who removed their children from the school after they realized that the curriculum revolved around Scientology's practices. While Will Smith definitely wants to curb his involvement with the church after it's clear his wife forced him into it, he has turned down roles with Tom Cruise, so fans don't get the wrong idea about his involvement when it comes to the church. Number 9. Nicholas Hoult. Back in 2019, director Christopher McQuarrie would return to the Mission Impossible franchise not for his third directorial effort in the series, but his fourth as well. The two films would comprise the final entries in the entire saga, and it would send Cruise's Ethan Hunt out in a two-part bang. But did you know Nicholas Hoult was offered a role by Tom Cruise himself after passing a fight choreography test with flying colors, but then he turned down the film, as the production delays created a problem for the star as he already booked other projects that included a Dracula spin-off. So despite the personal invitation from Tom and all the physical prep work, he flat out turned Tom Cruise down. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And number 8, we have Jessica Chastain. Imagine being an Oscar-nominated actor signed up for a movie opposite of Tom Cruise, but then you turn the role down last minute to pursue a different role in another project. Well, this is exactly what happened to Jessica Chastain. Now, you might think a superstar like Tom Cruise would be furious to lose an actor who could very well help make his film or break it, or that he was insulted that they wanted to back out of being his co-star. That very scenario played out to be kinda true when Jessica wiggled out of her commitment to the film, Oblivion, so she could star in another movie. She also turned down the star again when she was offered a role in Mission Impossible just a year later, but she opted out of the film due to its ridiculous training that was required for the film's role. But honestly, the way she just last minute backed out of both roles just proves that she just didn't want to work with Tom Cruise. Number 7, Val Kilmer. So Val Kilmer has turned down 2 roles when it comes to starring in a movie with Tom Cruise. The first role would be for the movie Collateral. Well, at first Val was announced to star in the film in an undisclosed role. It would be announced later that he departed from the film because of the shooting schedule when it came into conflict with the film Alexander, which he was already well into filming. Then he would turn down to collaborate with Tom Cruise for a second time when he turned down a role for the film The Outsiders because he was prepping for a run on Broadway in a play titled Slab Boys. And in hindsight, this might have been a wrong move as the play only ran for 6 weeks, and in addition, Kevin Bacon and Sean Penn to cast saw Val being bumped down to a supporting role. Now eventually Val did end up working with Tom when he starred in the film Top Gun, but initially he also turned down that role. He only ended up taking it because Tom Cruise just kept hounding him about the role. Number 6, Bill Murray. Imagine if Ghostbusters star ended up playing Bill Harford in the film's Eyes Wide Shut. Well, it actually almost happened, as Stanley Kubrick's 2020 release book, American Filmmaker, it would reveal that Bill was on the filmmaker's shortlist of casting choices when he was planning the movie in the 1980s before the role went to Tom Cruise in 1999. But that's not the role he turned down to obviously work with Tom Cruise, as just a decade earlier, Bill was actually offered a role opposite of Tom in the 1988 drama Rain Man, with the original script being sent to Bill by Mark Ovitz at CAA. Bill just decided not to read the film mainly because he wasn't interested in the project, as he heard Tom Cruise was involved in it. So the role was given to Dustin Hoffman instead. Bill didn't feel too bad about turning down the role, as he could have won an Academy Award for Best Actor, because after he turned down the chance to star alongside Tom Cruise, he turned his attention to Scrooge, which has become an iconic Christmas classic and one of his most celebrated roles. Number 5, Jason Alexander. Jason Alexander became a household name thanks to his iconic role as a quirky, down on his luck New Yorker in the trailblazing racing sitcom Seinfeld. But before he was a sitcom star, he was offered a role in the 1992 legal drama A Few Good Men. It all happened in 1990 when director Rob Reiner was assembling his class, and according to actor Kevin Pollak, in an interview with Vanity Fair in 2017, he would state his role was actually intended for Jason in the first place, but he turned down the role for Seinfeld because it got renewed, so Kevin went on to snag the role in the film A Few Good Men and work alongside Tom Cruise. Jason knew better off to stick with the role, but he did curse Kevin for earning 4 Academy Award nominations, and he's still waiting for Kevin to quit a job for him to say thank you. Number 4, Dennis Rodman. So you wouldn't expect basketball star Dennis Rodman being offered a role in a Tom Cruise film, but at the height of his fame when he was playing alongside NBA legend Michael Jordan for the Chicago Bulls, he attempted to make a big-time Hollywood career in the process, where he actually starred in a few major films that included Double Team and Simon Says, but neither of these films brought him the type of fame he was hoping for. But it all could have gone down a really different path if he didn't turn down an offer to star opposite to Tom Cruise in the 1996 sport comedy Jerry Maguire. In the film, Tom would play a sports agent who starts his own firm, struggling to survive with one of the complicated superstar clients, Rod Tidwell, who was played by Cuba Gooding Jr., but originally this character was supposed to be played by Dennis, and he turned down the role. While it's still unknown to why Dennis really turned down the role, many have thought it was because there might have been some scheduling conflict with his NBA duties, but the role actually allowed Cuba Gooding Jr. to win an Oscar, so maybe Dennis just should have taken the role. Number 3, Ian McKellen. When it comes to Mission Impossible movies, they have always had a great villain with talented actors playing slippery, slimy, international criminals. And for the second film, Tom almost enlisted the services of British actor Ian McKellen, but ultimately the actor decided to turn down Tom's offer by making a statement in an interview with People magazine in July of 2015, where he told the outlet if he agreed to take the role in Tom's film, then he would have missed out on 2 of his most iconic roles, before he made fun of Tom, saying they wouldn't let him see the script and decided that his scenes were just good enough because the production team was scared Ian might have just leaked the whole script to the media. So he only got the scenes that he was doing for his audition, and it didn't sit so well with him, as he wasn't happy with the thought of agreeing to do a project without seeing the entire story. So he said no, and his agent told him, "You can't say no to working with Tom Cruise," and Ian told his agent, "I think I will." Luckily, Ian made the right choice, as then he was offered a role not only in the X-Men movies, but also in the Lord of the Rings franchise. And if he did take Tom's movie, he would have never been able to do those roles, so it would have been a huge loss for him. Number 2, Javier Bardem. Javier Bardem got his start in Spain after he starred in a number of films throughout the 1990s before making the leap to Hollywood. Eventually, after a small role alongside Tom Cruise in Collateral and a leading part in the drama Goya's Ghost, he then gained notoriety in the film No Country for Old Men. Before Collateral, Javier actually almost starred with Tom Cruise in the 2002 Steven Spielberg directed sci-fi action Minority Report. In fact, during a speech at the Toronto Film Festival in 2017, Spielberg even revealed that Javier was his original choice for the Department of Justice agent Danny Whitwer. But the star was kinda intimidated about making a leading role in such a high-profile role for one of his first American projects, not just because it was difficult for him to jump into a foreign language for his performance at the time, as his English wasn't that good, but he also didn't want to step on Tom Cruise's toes, as the actor is a bit of a hothead from time to time. So that's why the role went to Colin Farrell. Coming in number 1 today, we have Ricky Gervais. For Mission Impossible 3, Tom also served as a producer on the franchise, and he needed the film to go in a fresh direction. After failing to get the project in motion with Joe Carnahan, he turned to TV director J.J. Abrams to direct the next installment. Looking for some new members to cast, Abrams put out an offer to Ricky Gervais. In the beginning, the actor was excited to join the film, but unfortunately, due to repeated delays in the film's production, it proved to be a real problem for Ricky, as he was really committed not only to his own TV series, but also with the Christopher Guest film For Your Consideration. Eventually, Ricky then made the decision to drop this film. While this wouldn't be the last time Abrams would call Ricky to star in his films, it was certainly the last time he ever agreed to star in a movie with Tom Cruise.
At number 10, we have Jennifer's dismissal of Bad Teacher actress Cameron Diaz when she made the comment that she believes Cameron is a quote, lucky model model who's been given a lot of opportunities, and how she wishes she would have done more with them. In turn, Cameron made a statement that Jennifer's behavior on set was rather cold, as she pretty much ignored her. She also described Jennifer as being someone who was hard to work with. As a clapback, Cameron further pushed that J-Lo should stick to her day job of singing. However, in the same Jennifer interview, it wasn't just Cameron that she came for. She also took shots at fellow actresses Gwyneth Paltrow and Winona Ryder. For Gwyneth, Jennifer said, "Tell me what she's been in? I swear to God, I don't remember anything she was in. Some people get hot by association. I heard more about her and Brad Pitt than I ever heard about her work." On Winona, Jennifer recalled, "I was never a big fan of hers. In Hollywood, she's revered. She gets nominated for Oscars, but I've never heard anyone in the public or among my friends say, 'Oh, I love her.'" At number 9, we have radio show host and interviewer Howard Stern, whose reasonings for not liking J-Lo comes in many forms. For one, he hates her music. Howard's typical musical vibe is 90s rock and grunge rather than early 2000s pop. But not only does Howard not enjoy Jennifer's music, he's also bashed it in the form of jokes on numerous occasions, despite his attraction to fairly few pop songs in the past. In summary, it was Howard Stern's show co-host Robin who made claims while they watched her on the floor music video that radio stations were hesitant to play the song since she hadn't been charting for a while. Apparently, to further this point, he described that the relevance of J-Lo being a judge on American Idol kind of forced the song down consumers' throats, and Howard later accused Jennifer of being self-absorbed because the single debuted on American Idol. Howard further bashed her Super Bowl performance and even ridiculed Jimmy Fallon's praises for it as well. There was also the incident where Howard claims he spent the entirety of his run-in with his friend Mark Anthony, who was married to Jennifer at the time, being completely ignored. This further pushed the established reputation of Jennifer being a snotty diva. Howard's last straw was Jennifer's interview, where she was asked if she found Howard attractive, and remained silent while expressing a puking expression. Since then, Howard has not let up on the insults about her attitude, music, and business choices whenever she's brought up on his show. At number 8, we have Gloria Estefan's shade to Jennifer for her halftime documentary spiel about performing with Shakira for the 2020 Super Bowl. When Gloria admitted she chose not to participate with no regrets, she blasted Jennifer's comments about their experience when she sat down with Andy Cohen on Watch What Happens Live in June. Quote, "Imagine what J-Lo would have said if I was third. I literally would come out, done, shake your booty, and out. It was their moment. Plus, I didn't want to go on a diet in December." This was in light of J-Lo's reaction to Shakira co-headlining the sports event. Benny Medina said in the film that it was insulting of the Super Bowl to request 2 Latina artists when one had already historically done the work. Yet Jennifer was the one who was upset about splitting her time on stage, stating that they only had 5 minutes to sing all their desired songs accurately. Quote, "We have to have our singing moments. This is the worst idea in the world to have 2 people do the Super Bowl." While Jennifer and Shakira communicated about their upcoming performance, Jennifer added, "They said 12 minutes. I got a good confirmation that we could have an extra minute or 2, so now we're at like 13-14 minutes. I think Shakira, what we should have is you should have half the time and I should. If it was going to be a double headliner, they should have given us 20 minutes. That's what they should have effing done." At number 7, we have singer Brandy, who was apparently picking sides when the Lopez-Carey feud was at its peak. Brandy had shared an Instagram photo of her embracing Mariah in 2017 with a short 3-word caption of #SheKnows Me. Brandy's followers were on her like water as soon as the post was uploaded, speculating that the caption had everything to do with Mariah's famously memed "I don't know her." In response, Brandy denied there being any drama, rearranging the captions and then say, "I swear I don't know what the fuss is about. I love this pic and everyone thinks I'm throwing shade. At who? This is funny. Can't take this one down. I love this picture. And whenever I'm throwing shade, it's not questionable. You know that I am." Brandy also continued unapologetically with, "I've met her several times like the several seats that should be taken. She does know me." And if things couldn't get any shadier, Mariah made sure to clear things up in Brandy's comments with a simple "I sure do." At number 6, we have J-Lo's first husband, Ohani Noah. Despite their marriage being short-lived and ending as of 1998, it seems Ohani still can't stand Miss Jenny from the block. Their 9-month marriage apparently wasn't all that great, as Ohani had been working hard to slander his ex-wife's name on a number of occasions. Back in 2006, Ohani published a tell-all titled The Unknown Truth, a passionate portrait of a serial thriller. J-Lo halted this project with a lawsuit and claimed that Ohani was breaking their confidentiality agreement. Jennifer won $545,000 in damages, and Ohani was given a court date which forbid him from criticizing, denigrating, casting in a negative light, or otherwise disparaging Jennifer. In the next 3 years, Ohani threw himself back into news outlets when he made threats to release a sexually suggestive video of Jennifer that was filmed during their honeymoon and resulted in another $10 million lawsuit. In 2016, his appearance on $1 Million Matchmaker saw Ohani claiming he loaded the blame on Jennifer for their split and how he was looking forward to spending a lifetime with her before she chose her career over him. At number 5, we have have former NBC World of Dance TV host and mentor Jenna Dewan, who sat on the panel with then executive producer Jennifer. Although the two dancers and celebrities seemed fine during the 2017 reality dance competition tapings, their animosity behind the scenes apparently ran deep. An unnamed outlet source once stated on Jenna's behalf that Jenna, quote, can't stand Jen's over-the-top theatrical fakery, adding that Jen never fails to ham it up when the cameras are rolling and she hijacks the show. It seems she'd prefer if Jenna just stayed in the background. Every situation, even off camera, is micromanaged by J-Lo, and Jenna feels very excluded. This alleged feud seemed to be squashed fairly quickly though when Gossip Cop reached out to a show producer and one of Jenna's reps and was informed that the reported beef was misleading. However, given Jennifer's past, can we really be sure of this? At number 4, we have actress Rosie Perez. She and Jennifer apparently had lifelong ties with one another that seemed great on the outside. But both Puerto Rican dancers raised in New York have zero love for each other, according to Rosie's 2014 Handbook for an Unpredictable Life memoir. In it, Rosie discusses working on In Living Color with Jennifer in a wickedly horrible light. Quote, all the girls were coming into my office complaining how she was manipulating wardrobe, makeup, and me all to her advantage. Despite Jennifer dipping from ILC after 2 seasons, Rosie stuck with her words of Jennifer supposedly keeping the flame of their feud burning for years after they parted. The words on the pages of Rosie's book portrayed Jennifer to be a two-faced person who would crap on Rosie one minute but then act super sweet like nothing happened between them the next. At number 3, we have artist Rihanna, who seemed to be unimpressed by Jennifer after the star posted herself chilling with Rihanna's on-again off-again reported love interest Drake backstage at her 2016 Winter Vegas show. Naturally, Jennifer's snap captioned, "Look who rolled up at my show tonight to say hi, #LoveHim," sparked massive dating rumors, and it probably didn't help that Jennifer uploaded a follow-up pic of her and Drake bear hugging and looking overly comfortable snuggling up. While many were unconvinced about the headlines, Rihanna was seemingly not here for any of it, which is why she reportedly went on to dub Jennifer as a desperate traitor. According to an unnamed insider who spoke to Touch, Rihanna had felt like she experienced the ultimate betrayal by Jennifer, since they once had a tight-knit bond where Rihanna could seek solace in Jennifer for her relationship. Rihanna did not publicly address their rumored issues, however, she did seem to throw some shade when she suddenly hit the unfollow button on J-Lo's Insta. At number 2, we have Nicki and Jennifer's heated back and forth jabs that started with an exchange during a 2012 American Idol episode, where Nicki performed and Jennifer was a judge. When the female rapper completed her set, she boldly asked, "I was hoping maybe I could come back and be a guest judge. J-Lo, can you scoot over a bit?" To which Jennifer immediately quips, "I don't know if there's enough room for the both of us." Nicki seemed to hold on to that comment when she attempted to smooth things over back with The Hollywood Reporter, saying, "She didn't seem to be having it, but she's gonna have it. We were just joking around." However, in 2015, things were still just as messy when Jennifer opened the American Music Awards performing a medley of songs which included Nicki's hit Anaconda. Nicki seemed to be unimpressed by her performance, as the camera gave away her emotionless expression, which told us everything we needed to know, as one fan hinted. Nicki came to Jennifer's defense at that point though when she fired back with a tweet to a fan explaining, "I'm looking at my own face on the screen when I'm looking to the right. I turn back and look at her." At number 1, we have the iconic I Don't Know Her rivalry that has been carried out for years now. This beef has been ongoing since the early 2000s, with both stars being repeatedly questioned on whether or not they actually like each other. It seems they can't really decide though. Host Danny Cohen brought up their beef on his show in 2014, where Jennifer nonchalantly played the situation off with, "I don't have a feud against her at all. I've read things she said about me that were not the greatest, but we don't know each other. I would love to meet her and I would love to be friends with her." However, she told Wendy Williams the exact opposite in 2016 for her show, explaining, "She's forgetful, I guess. We've met many times." Andy went straight to the source to speak with Mariah that same year, and in response, Mariah reiterated, "I don't know her. What am I supposed to say?" Jennifer, of course, took this as major shade, and when people were flaming Mariah for her quote disastrous New Year's Eve performance that winter, Jennifer threw some shade of her own by liking a post referring to Mariah's performance as a train wreck. It seems Mariah got the final laugh though because she made it rain shade in her 2020 memoir, The Meaning of Mariah Carey, where she revealed her feud with Jennifer on top of slamming Jennifer's ex-husband and former CEO of Sony Music, Tommy Mottola, for allegedly attempting to ruin her career with Jennifer's help. Mariah claimed Tommy tried to sabotage the glitter soundtrack Firecracker and pushed that the movie's lead single Lover did not go unnoticed by Sony executives. Mariah also added that Sony rushed to make a single for another female entertainer on their label. But rather than naming Jennifer in the allegation in her sampling of Firecracker on I'm Real that same year, Mariah just concluded with her infamous comment, finishing her statement with, "After all that ish, Loverboy ended up being the best-selling single of 2001 in the United States."